Figured I'd start there. And that's that new record from the Queen soundtrack. Well, the soundtrack isn't out, but the next single from the Queen's cast, that's Lady Z Strikes Back. Spoiler alert if you haven't been watching Queens, but this episode introduced Remy Ma's character, Lady Z, as spoiler alert if you haven't been watching. Eve's character is kind of like phased out, I guess, because with Eve's pregnancy and being in London, we're not going to see a lot of Eve for a while. So, enter Lady Z. Um, I feel like it was a great trade off and a great way for us to, introduce other female rappers into the mix, and also, great way for, Remy to step into some acting. But I do feel like the show needs Eve. Uh, Eve was a necessary catalyst to the group, and the show without her still works. But I need my Eve back into the mix. It just looks like now they've shifted gears and given the load to Brandy to carry the show, which I'm perfectly fine with. But I was here for the Brandy and Eve being together on the same show, and to like phase Eve out while she's dealing with her pregnancy, not dealing with, but like having her first child and also being located in London. It's good that they're making it work, number one, and it's good that hopefully, with Eve's absence, the show can continue to go on and be renewed, so she can make her way back, and all of these exciting storylines that they've added into the mix can all coexist together. So I love the direction with. Spoiler alert again if you're still haven't seen it. The cast moving towards creating their own record label and signing other artists to them. Great storyline for them to like shift gears from them not being able to be a group without Eve. But aside from the Queen's recap, I'm not gonna dive completely into the episode. I do love what they're doing with that show, and I'm hoping it continuously grows and ABC, hits that renew for another season because we're losing all of our representation, as they like to categorize these shows as. We're losing all of our shows. Um, since we're on the topic of TV, I don't nah. I'll save the TV for later. But basically, wanted to start with that record. Let me play it one more time. Let me get it back in the mix. They don't want you to win, but they can't stop you from winning. I wanted to start there because that concept alone was vital to where I wanted to begin. And speaking of something personal, having to pivot this entrepreneurial space and return to corporate work, working in corporate. Um, it's just interesting because I had an opportunity to work on a project through Elusive, which was excellent, and the pandemic allowed for me to, segue this space as it was. Started as a project, and now it grew to Elusive now being able to be a vendor to provide creative services, which has been my goal. So now we get the projects last year, and my company, Elusive, is you pay the company, you get the creative services. Now we're entering this year. The project is happening again and again. Elusive, it could be you can pay Elusive and get the creative services that you're asking for. But this company in particular wants to switch gears, and now they want to hire me, which cool. You can hire me, and I'll provide you with the same creative services that you would get just paying my company as your vendor, but they don't want to go the paying the vendor route. They rather pay me as an employee of the company. So cool, that works. I have no problems with that. But just stepping into this process of being on onboarded as a contracted worker has got me into the space of like all of these steps that is put in place to get you hired in a corporate job, which I have no problem with, but I just feel like the process is taking too long. It's December 27th. It is now January 11th. So maybe things are backed up because it's the new year and everything is backed up from last year and it's taking this long because of that. But I just feel like as it's been in my experience when it comes to me being a black man, some of the things that take place makes me wonder if that is the case that is holding me back from certain corporate positions. Now, with this role, the company that is assisting with the onboarding process was all new to me. I'll put whatever information you need together to onboard me quicker if you want to go that route instead of just using me as I am inducted, onboarded into the company as a vendor through Elusive. You rather go the other way. So cool, let's do that. But this process now, cool. You have to do your background checks. You have to have me fill out all of this paperwork and get all of this stuff set up. Great. Um, but if that's not complete and it's taking as long as it's taking, and you also want me to get started on the project, there being this easy process of the company just providing a waiver, I just feel like knowing what I know in my past situations with hearing about the meetings that were discussing me and knowing about some of the employees that had questionable backgrounds and somehow were allowed to work in corporate roles because they aren't, just makes me wonder if this process is being delayed because of that. Maybe it's not, but it just opens your eyes to, if this could be settled quickly with a waiver and I can get started on the work, do the waiver. Like, time is money. Like, we have things going on. It would be nice to get the contract settled so the work can be done. I can get my money. Simple. But process is still ongoing. And the contract isn't settled, so the work can't begin. And I'm like, this is just pushing everything that is in plan for the next upcoming months. Uh, yeah. So the Brandy Remy Ma song for Queens, they don't want you to win, but they can't stop you from winning. Just played in my mind again as I was thinking about that, like how there are so many steps put in play to like discourage you or keep you from hitting your goal or reaching after your goals that kind of want to like set you up to fail or set you up to want to give up. So I just felt like, y'all could make this real simple and just do the waiver, get on with it, and I can start doing this like I need to be doing it. But we're not there yet. So I guess I have to, sit and wait and hope for the best. But on to the next things and the next projects and the things that are already in motion. So I just hope that, some things change because hearing stories of actual employees who went to prison for specific money laundering or wire fraud or some hacking thing, it just made me think about that situation and how, what was the process in getting this person to be hired as a reporter. But we won't go into that. I just feel like a waiver was made and the process was moved along and they were able to work. So when it comes to people of color and us being, the super talented and super creative people that we are, and having the ability and capabilities to do a number of jobs in one, having to go above and beyond to still have to be met with resistance and steps to, make it to the table. And it's just frustrating to be on that path and to think about it in that way and to, recognize that sometimes that is what it is. And what can you do but hope that things change and get better? And these companies who try to push their diversity and inclusion efforts actually enact those efforts that they are preaching and putting out as their focus. But on to the next, hitting back on the TV situation, hoping that Queens gets renewed for season two. But when you think about all of the, I don't want to say it's not a lot, but like there is a lot of black led TV shows. But when you talk about network television, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, our kind of people comes to mind. Um, Blackish, Wonder Years, Abbott Elementary just started, so excited about that. But it's not a lot. Insecure ended. What do we have now? Atlanta went on hiatus. It's supposed to be coming back sometime this year, but as all of the cast continuously gets other projects outside of Atlanta, will this be the end of Atlanta after this season? Because it looks like they don't have the time to come back to doing this show. So again, Atlanta is another show that's, I believe, a Black Lady sketch show has been renewed, so we should get that. What's the show on Showtime? Flatbush. I can't think of it. Popped up on my you should watch thing, and I'm like, I did watch it. Flatbush Misdemeanor. Hopefully that will be renewed for season 2. But yeah, I say that to say like a lot of Blackwood shows are, the numbers are dwindling down, and there was news, well, the trailer for the Fresh Prince reboot dropped, and I see a lot of people across the timeline talking about, did we need this reboot? And I'm just stuck. Like, when the creatives did their little trailer where it was a fan made trailer inspired by the Fresh Prince that dramatized the show. Everyone was excited about this trailer and the fact that it should get into the hands of Will Smith and that he should see it, which it did. And now I believe they took that concept to reboot the show, which is what we're getting with the show entitled Bel-Air. So where in that process did we go from, oh, this take on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air so great, Will needs to see it, to now that the trailer is out and the show has been filmed and rebooted, we can go without that reboot. Make it make sense. I'm excited for it. Again, Black people are the harshest critics, clearly, because not one episode premiered yet, and everyone's like, we don't need this. And we got to stop doing that, because then we won't have any shows, because everyone would, network TV would feel like, oh, y'all not gonna watch this, so why are we spending money to create these shows? And it's just like, we know this, but we still shit on a show before it airs, before we've seen any of it, and write it off. And then now the network is like, well, cancel that. Nobody wants to see it. And I can use Dear White People as an example. And I was one of these people. But then I said, I'm gonna watch one episode before I judge it. But they announced the season finale, the series finale season of Dear White People was going to be a musical season. And I was one of these people that was like, how are you going to take what was so great about this show and then in its last season say, here's a musical season? And I was just like, I don't see the connection here, especially with how the previous season ended. So I was on that train that was like, nah, I'm not watching this because I don't want to see a musical. And I feel like they really relied heavily on saying that it was a 90s musical because I love all things 90s, so that should have grabbed me. But I was like, nah, one thing you don't want to do is touch the 90s. Second thing you don't want to do is take a show that was like socially conscious about issues and turn it into just a musical that had nothing to do with the issues. Having watched it, I feel like they shouldn't have dived into promoting the series finale as a musical because the entire season was not. It was a musical, but at the same time, it wasn't. Dear White People's promo should not have been 90s musical because we picked up where we left off, but we also jumped ahead. And the musical aspect of the season made sense, but not to the extent that it was the entire season, because it wasn't. It was actually continuing all of the issues and all of the things that we knew Dear White People to be. So again, everyone shaded on the idea that the last season of Dear White People was going to be a musical. A lot of people didn't watch it, and a lot of people were on the bandwagon to like, oh, I don't want to see a musical and not for the finale. So again, Dear White People loses viewers because of the way the show was marketed. Same thing goes for this Fresh Prince, Bel-Air. Bel-Air. Uh, People are going off of the trailer without having seen any parts, seeing the actual show and judging based on that. And before the show premieres, you guys create this whirlwind where everybody's jumping on like, ah, we don't need this. I don't want that. That's look whack. This looks like All American. This looks like all of these other shows that are out, and it's just like what's going to end up happening is Peacock, I believe, is the one is gonna give Bel Air one season, and then y'all gonna watch some years down the line, and then wonder why this show didn't continue. And then the next project will come out, and y'all will do the exact same thing again, and wonder why there are no continuations or the shows get canceled. And if you want to talk about reboots and continuations, as if we haven't felt this way since the ending of, well, Girlfriends didn't end, but the fact that y'all are so up in arms about Fresh Prince being rebooted, and even the thoughts like everyone wants Girlfriends movie continuation, something, because a show like Girlfriends with its success hasn't seen companies putting up the money to continue the story or produce movies. And if you think about Sex in the City, Sex in the City has had two, three movies, and now a reboot series, and people are not happy with the content. I mean, the quality of the new reboot, and it's just like this show was allowed movie after movie after movie, now a new series, and Girlfriends hasn't gotten anything, and the whole cast is willing to jump back into this show and continue. So like again, why isn't there any Girlfriends continuation, reboot, movies, any of that? And then as I'm thinking about reboots and all of those things, there are a lot of shows that are getting reboots. How I Met Your Mother is getting a How I Met Your Father. They're trying to do the Office reboot. Uh, Dexter has been rebooted. Uh, there's a number of shows that Friends had this elaborate, laid out reunion, and fans of Friends, because I'm not one, asked about the cast jumping back into doing a new iteration of Friends, and it's just like there are more of these shows that don't necessarily need reboots that are getting all these reboots, and there are none on this side. So when we finally get Fresh Prince, it's weird that everyone's like, we don't need a reboot of Fresh Prince. The show was what it was. Leave it. It's not like the cast of Fresh Prince is doing the Fresh Prince continuing from where they left off. It's a whole new show based on what the story of Fresh Prince was. I feel like it's an excellent iteration of the story, and it would be good to, again, we're not doing the same show again. We're creating a new formatted show based on the original show. What's so hard about them doing that? And then there are a number of shows that got canceled or ended because of the writer strike, and they never got concluded. And it's like Girlfriends is at the top of the list as to one of the shows that should, there's no question, should get a movie, couple of movies, a reboot, all of those things that Sex and the City has gotten, Girlfriends definitely should have gotten. But again, I don't know, what are we waiting for? Half and Half ended on a cliffhanger, and Half and Half wasn't canceled. There was no room. I believe it's Half and Half. There was no. It could have. Yeah, Half and Half. I believe there was no room in the lineup schedule because they added Reba to one of the one of the nights, and it was either Half and Half or All of Us, and they chose to proceed with All of Us, and Half and Half ended without resolution. Another show where all of the actors can come back, reprise their roles, and do a new version of the show right where they left off. But again, we're so super critical of our 90s sitcoms that y'all missing the point that there aren't that many shows, and our shows are not getting the just due that they deserve, so it would make sense that they get rebooted, creating opportunities for these actors, the sets, all of those things. So I just don't understand why everyone is so quick to be like, nah, they didn't need to do this, when in actuality we need these type of shows. We need a resolution for Half and Half. We need I believe the same thing happened with One on One. Like none of our black sitcoms not many of them had a resolution. Insecure made it to 5 seasons and decided to end the show, and everyone's complaining like they didn't have to end the show. But again, a lot of black shows don't even see the end, so it's better. I mean, I guess in Issa's mind, like the story was what it was, and they resolved it and wrapped it up in 5 seasons. So cool, but a lot of shows don't get a chance to wrap up the entire show, i.e., Girlfriends. While it wasn't it, while it did make it to 8 seasons, it did make it to 8 seasons. The eighth season didn't have to be the last season as well. At some point, the show could have kept going, and again, movies, reboots, all of those things that we see with Sex in the City, easily comparable to what Girlfriends deserves. The same, elaborate HBO special for Friends. Living Single didn't get that, and Friends was basically a copy of Living Single. And again, Living Single doesn't get the praise and the recognition as Friends. But again, we continue. I mean, y'all continue to like bash and hate all of the black sitcoms being rebooted. Meanwhile, the shows that we have are like getting back down to being nothing but these. We got the Power Universe. We got these good shows on Stars. Um, run the world. Run the world. I want to say Run the World. I believe it's Run the World. Great show. We got Harlem on Amazon. But y'all complaining about that. I don't know how. Uh, um, the stuff that Tyler Perry is doing on BT that y'all complaining about as well. It's like, yeah, we're never happy with anything, and then when we have nothing, we're gonna wonder why we don't have anything. And speaking of reboots, the review for The Matrix, which I'm not even going to dive into The Matrix. I enjoy The Matrix. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews regarding the changes they've made, but I enjoyed The Matrix. I enjoyed what they did with the story. I enjoyed seeing the cast of Sense8 because that's a show that Netflix pulled the plug on, and it was like that's an excellent show. Maybe it was expensive, but again, for Netflix to I'm gonna bring this up every time. Netflix wanna spend 100 million to keep Friends on their streaming platform for an extra year, but when it comes to their original series, they don't want to push out the money to produce it. So I feel like it was a waste of money to keep Friends streaming, only for it to go away and now be on whatever streaming platform it's on. But yeah, Sense8 was an excellent show on Netflix, and it got canceled. But it was great to see some of the cast in the Matrix world. It would have been cool had they tied the events of Sense8 into the Matrix, and that way, somehow we can get a Sense8 movie or continuation or something. But that is my wishful thinking. But aside from Matrix and all of that stuff, the point of us being in a place where Hollywood is out of ideas, and every major production is rebooting a already created franchise such as The Matrix, and then you're seeing a lot. There's a new Screen reboot coming. All of the shows that I've mentioned, Dexter, How I Met Your Mother, getting the How I Met Your Father reboot. Like all of these major shows, Hollywood just trying to copy and paste and create the same show again. So there's a Scream reboot happening, and I don't hear nobody saying we could do without another Scream. But when it comes to our black sitcoms, yeah, I yell the loudest that we don't need these things. But again, I don't think we need a new Scream, but it's cool that we're having a new one. It's good to see the cast able to come back to a project and do something new. Same thing with Halloween. I don't know how many times they've done new Halloween reboots, but again, it's great when you can enjoy the movie and it's good and it's still what it is or what it was at its core. So I just feel like we're in this continuous cycle of just rebooting everything instead of pushing forward for new content and new creative ideas. But what can you do? And the show that I'm most excited about came back, Euphoria, and that was an intense first episode. Oh my god, I had to watch it twice because so good. Um, Zendaya is just executive producer this year. But for those who counted out Zendaya and tried to keep her in a box and said she couldn't do anything outside of Disney, she continuously proves that I guess she can do whatever she wants. And Euphoria is one. I had the title of the movie in my head, lost it. But the movie with John David Washington, such a great movie. What we can expect to see in the second part of Dune should be excellent. And then the Spider-Man stuff. So it's like, yeah, she's doing what she needs to be doing, and it's good to see these type of stories being told because everything's not all roses, and people do go through these things with abusing drugs and having anxiety, mental illnesses, trauma, all of these things. Like, yeah, we don't really see these stories go into depth like Euphoria is trying. So if you haven't checked out Euphoria, I don't know what you're waiting on. I'm excited to see where the season goes because that first episode was worth the delays and hiatus and the wait from the season that happened previously. I believe came out in 2018. Could be wrong. 2017. It couldn't have been that long. I want to say 2018. But yes, Euphoria is back. Excellent show, excellent series. And I'm excited for the next episode. And I feel like, Sunday nights are filled with something because, Insecure is over and it's just like, what are we watching now? Um, that's all that I had to talk about. But let's get back into this. So I do want to say to all the creatives on this journey of figuring shit out, it's okay to have to pivot, have to change ideas, have to move on to the next. There's no blueprint, there's no timeline, there's no manual to letting you know exactly how to move in space. So take your time with your creative energy. Take your time with figuring shit out. Take your time with planning. If you have to go back, feel free. Because yeah, no one should dictate to you uh, anything when they aren't putting in the same amount of work and effort into producing at the level you're trying to produce. So, with that being said, thank y'all for listening to episode 18. I didn't even introduce. I don't believe I introduced. I think I just got right into things. But episode 18. Thank y'all for joining me. Thank y'all for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that stuff that YouTubers have to say. Um, Let me know your thoughts on the Queen's shift, on Eve's character being like phased out while she's back in London. Let me know what you think about the reboots. What do you think? Should we have these reboots? Should the Fresh Prince not do this Bel-Air reboot? What are some shows that deserves a reboot that haven't been brought up in conversation? And then, oh, I was supposed to talk about that. Let me know your thoughts on Euphoria. And if you haven't watched Euphoria, find your way on over to HBO. This ain't an ad, but great show, and it deserves all the awards again. And that's only off the first episode. And the cinematography in this season, which they're shifting from last season, that is the level of film and photography that I'm now aspiring to produce. So uh, I gotta do my homework and figure out ways to produce film and photography that is on that level. And that's what I was excited about with the first season, but now this second season just stepped it a whole level up, and I'm just like, I need to start figuring out how to do photos and film in that capacity. So again, it's always a learning experience. It's always a way to like figure out something new and then want to proceed with that. Um, oh, publishing. Okay. Just reminding me that as I was talking about how you see stuff and it reminds you of something creative that you can do. Uh, I was in Barnes and Nobles last week, and having published magazine, it hit me like, I mean, I already planned. I am planning to publish my books under my ELSV imprint, but got the idea to do something, involving publishing for others under the ELSV brand. Sorry. And I'm working on that too. So hopefully some publications will make their way out this year. That is a goal of mine to publish a book, and I've been working on two books at the same time for a while, and this is the year to get it published. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, let me know what y'all think about what I've said in this episode. If you like it, if you don't, you disagree, you agree. Um, like, comment, share, all that good stuff that because that'll help me with the YouTube algorithms. Let me know what y'all wanna discuss, and if you're a creative and you're looking to promote, showcase your stuff, feel free to hit me up, and I wouldn't mind discussing it here. Black skin, black braids, back waves, black days, black bays. I can't speak. Black skin, black braids, black waves, black days, black bays. Ode to Saint. Ode to Solange. Knows. Uh, this is one of the designs that I had done. I have some left, so if you want to order, go on over to ELSV.net and you can find the sweater or the shirts on the website. And again, I will link all that good stuff down below. And again, thank y'all for joining me. Let's see what Cam 2 looks like because, we got two multi cams now. Boom, we got to get this one a little bit better. But that's if I want to, look into the camera and speak some shit. We got camera 2 over there. I need to brighten it up a little bit. But thank y'all again for joining me in this episode 18. In the last episode, said episode 16, but incorrectly, this is episode 18. Last episode was episode 17. And we still here and we still producing all these content. My gaming channel, all those links will be down below. But if you want to check me out playing Resident Evil and some other games, find your way over to the gaming channel. I am also streaming on Twitch, twitch.tv/ELSVNate. Um, yeah, so check me out. All the streaming stuff, the Patreon. I did make some edits over there, so to make it make sense, I'm doing a podcast here for those who are interested in podcast content. I'm doing a gaming tier for those interested in the gaming aspects of Elusive. And then we might have a music tier for those interested in music tiers. So that way, I don't have to create two separate Patreons, and I can have one community who are there for what they are there for. So if you are there for just the gaming content, you can all of the tiers will be the same except the VIP tier. So you can subscribe to whichever tier works best for you, and you'll get the content that you want. So if you want the podcast uh, content, it will be filtered for podcast tier. Get podcast content and giveaways and all that good stuff. The gaming tier will be all gaming content, and anything regarding Twitch and all that good stuff will be within the gaming tier. Music tier, I don't know if I will include that separately, or will the podcast tier just be podcast and music, audio, whatever. But mixes and any music that is released within the podcast or outside of the podcast will be its own separate thing or included in the podcast here. And that way, if you are here for that, there's no overlap with content. And if you're here for my gaming stuff, you will get the gaming stuff. And then VIP tier is if you are here for all of my content, and I appreciate you if you are. And if you subscribe to VIP tier, you will get all of that good stuff that I just mentioned plus whatever extra bonus stuff that comes outside of both of those categories. So, again, if you're supporting, not supporting, watching, but not saying anything, commenting, or anything, I appreciate you still. But I would love y'all feedback. So, again, like, comment, subscribe, share. Let me know your opinions on some of these topics. Once the Patreon is set up and the disc, it's all set up, but I just gotta, fix a lot of those things. And once that is all good to go, you can subscribe to Patreon and all of that stuff. All of this extra bonus content will be there for you to pick apart. And then any bonus giveaways and discount codes and all that good stuff for the elusive store will be on Patreon. So again, subscribe to Patreon. I did see a little subscription based thing with YouTube, but I don't know if that's for those who have thousands of subscribers. So again, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get these numbers up. I do feel like I gotta do some more Brandy content. So for my Brandy followers and fans of Brandy, stay tuned because if you haven't checked out the Brandy episode that I slightly dived into some new Brandy mixes. I played some of my mixes. I was supposed to pull some clips from them so they could be their own separate thing. But stay tuned. It's coming. I got to make clips from a lot of things and I will get to it. And it will be on the channel or exclusively on Patreon. We'll see. But thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, share this to your Instagram, share this to your social media, like, comment, all that, review, all that good stuff on Apple. And because Spotify hasn't, allowed for my podcast to exist on their platform, we're sticking with Apple Podcasts and Podbean. So if you can't listen on Apple Podcasts, Podbean is the alternative. And until the next episode, thank y'all for checking me out. And I will catch y'all in the next one.